Hello, guys and girls, and welcome to episode 24 of the VR Inside podcast. This is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show that is live streamed every Saturday on Nathie's YouTube channel. You can tune into the show live at 4 p.m. in Europe, 3 p.m. in the UK, and 9 a.m. in Central US. If you missed the podcast for whatever reason, you can catch up with the whole show on my own YouTube channel, Virtual Reality Oasis, where I upload it every Sunday. Or alternatively, check out the audio-only version, which is available on Google Play Music, iTunes, and on SoundCloud. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback during the show, please put them in the chat, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. So let me introduce you to the masters of the metaverse. And up first, we have the guy that has been searching for the Easter egg in the Oasis so he can take over it for himself. It is Nathie.
Yeah. What's up? Hello. Thank
You want
you.
the egg?
It's an honor. No, I haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
I'm close, though. I'm very close. Talking about the Oasis, what avatar would you guys pick? You know, if you would live within the virtual reality Oasis.
I would be RoboCop.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't want to be a pillow?
Like
this one?
I already have the pillow, so I already am the pillow, so I've achieved that one already. But
Okay.
yeah, RoboCop is one of my all-time favorite movies. So if I had to pick an avatar that was kind of from that genre, that would fit into that kind of universe, it would be RoboCop.
Fair enough. Okay.
Good choice.
And what about you, Zim?
I would be me.
Oh, wow.
I would be me. I'm like hugely into consistency. I mean, I've used the same name since I had an alias, like throughout, and it's the same thing. I don't want to be a robot. Like you, Mike. I don't want to, be the thing is, I believe if you're a human being, you want to see a human face. So, and what better human face than Zim? Oh, okay, Rowdy, go on. What's yours? What's your answer?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know all of the characters that are in there. Are Super Saiyans in there? Please tell me.
Whoever you want.
I'll be a freaking Super Saiyan.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a
Super
giant
Saiyan.
monkey. It means he wants a tail.
Yeah, I want to be gold-haired, muscular, pointy hair, green eyes.
Okay, I have no idea what you're
Dragon
talking
Ball Z.
Yes.
Oh,
right.
okay, Dragon Ball Z. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes
of course,
Okay.
of course.
Powered
Okay,
up.
so we digress. Obviously, we introduced Nathie. Let's introduce the other two crazy dudes, masters of the metaverse. This guy, he likes to date virtual girls in VR, and that is our RowdyGuy. How are you, dude?
Yeah, it didn't really work out that well for me.
It didn't. I saw that. It kind of got a bit awkward. You were shouting at her, and she couldn't hear you.
Yeah, she maybe she pretended that she couldn't hear me. That could be it as well.
Yeah.
I've had that before.
Wasn't the first time.
I'm good. I have been. I recently got laser surgery.
Yeah.
So actually, I got like almost perfect vision now, which is pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be talking about glasses later on, so I'd love to hear more about your surgery in
cool.
that subject, because I think you'll have some interesting stuff to tell us. And next up, this guy, he likes to eat chocolate whilst riding virtual roller coasters. It is Zim25. How you doing, mate?
Rough after that. Yeah, I had my hopes so high, and like a coaster, I faced nothing but a downward spiral. I played every fecking coaster on the Oculus Home Store.
Yeah.
Was grim.
None of them impressed you.
Not a single one got even a consider. Yeah.
That's a shame.
Unfortunately, the ones, if you want to get a good coaster, they're actually all on Steam. Sorry, Oculus. But No Limits 2 is the bee's knees. It's like back when I bought it 2-3 years ago now, maybe more. That's the VR coaster of choice. Really feels, it sounds, it's fantastic. And there's a couple of scary ones. PSVR players know Rush of Blood is awesome. And then there's Ghost Town Mine Ride, which is another fun kind of 2-hour one. Those are the three ones that are worth looking at. Everything else is kind of trash, to be honest.
Cool. So, last but no means least, myself, Mike, host of the show, the bearded bald guy from Virtual Reality Oasis. In this week's show, we're going to be talking about the Winter Olympics in VR. Does it suck? Quite possibly. We'll let you know. The PSVR price drop, Brass Tactics Arena, the Vaunt AR glasses from Intel as well. That is the subject we was going to talk about last week, but unfortunately we ran out of time, so it's been pushed to this week. So we've got a busy show for you guys, but let's start off the show how we normally start it nowadays, and that is to find out what everyone's been playing this week. So let's kick it over to Nathie to see what you've been playing this weekend. What have you been experiencing in the metaverse? Oh, Nathie, your mic is dead. So while Nathie is doing his thing, I'm going to kick it over to Rowdy and find out what you've been up to, dude.
I've been playing some Brass Tactics. I've only played the tutorial, and I'm planning to do the tournament next week, which is going to be a little bit of a disaster, I think, because everyone has been training. You know, I've been seeing so many posts on Twitter of like, oh yeah, I've been doing this and I've been doing that, and oh yeah, everyone has been playing co-op matches and these kind of matches, and I haven't even passed the tutorial yet. So, I mean, it's going to be hilarious, that's for sure. Another hilarious experience that I had this week was the VR dating simulator, Fallen in Love.
I would love to know more about that. So yeah, tell me about that one.
Well, I mean, it was Valentine's Day, and I thought, like, let me just do a fun recording and see what kind of stuff is already out there. And there's actually a lot of stuff that is out there that is related to this kind of concept. You had like a few experiences that we're going to be releasing later in the week as well, but they were all a little bit how would I say it, like pornographic.
Wow. Okay.
True. Absolutely true.
It was a little bit weird to find that kind of stuff on the Steam store, but all of them were a little bit like too much to show on YouTube, I think.
Okay.
And the other one that I found was this one. It was called Fall in Love, and it was more like the dating experience where you like sit in front of someone, you get to talk. I find the concept a little bit ridiculous. You know, the 36 questions to your heart. I only need 2. But the problem was that she couldn't hear me, so you know I was doomed from the beginning. She was really pretty though. I dated Grace Van Dien or something. She's an actress. She plays in a series called The Greenhouse something. I didn't know the series, but it's apparently it's quite.
They had
popular.
big names in here, Rowdy. They actually had
big
names.
Yeah. It was. She was a real proper actress, and she really got me hot as well. So she was doing it quite well.
For those of you that haven't seen Rowdy's video, I urge you to go and see it. Just like watch the first 5 minutes because it had me laughing so hard. Like there's a bit where she introduces herself and he's like, "Oh man, I'm getting a bit hot up in here," because she is obviously an attractive girl.
She's really pretty. Yeah. And then I also tried the male experience.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, I went for Ramon, and his first line was, "Welcome to my forest. I hope you like my stump." And I'm cracking up. And then I tried conversing with Ramon. Yeah. The only thing he would say then was, "I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It's a little bit too loud in the forest."
Oh, that's what that was about. Oh. Now I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That did look really funny. So do you think it was a problem with your mic or it's just a problem with the experience?
Nah, it's definitely a problem with the experience, because as soon as I said like it was nice meeting you, but I have to go, then it would work like instantly. I only had to say that like once. So as long as I was leaving, everything was fine. But when I was trying to do the conversation, it didn't work.
They do say that VR is very like the real world. So
there's a simple rule for VR developers: pay your developers enough, guys. Otherwise.
Yeah, it's true.
But like
Rowdy, funny.
I played dating lessons about a year ago, and I had the same situation. Like, you think, oh, I'm confident, I'm an aged adult, I'm fine, You go in with some hot chick like talking to you at a bar, it can get a little bit warm. It's funny, but it actually does. There's some good advice in those, though. Like, how was your app? Like, did it actually help you understand how to pick up a girl, or was it more like just a date sim? I wasn't really sure.
Nah, it was more like you had like the questions laid out in front of you,
and
you just had to. You could choose between 2 different questions each time, and then she would like. She would always be very positive. It was never like a question she would be like, "How dare you ask my weight?" or something. It wasn't like that.
Okay.
It was more like, that's a very good question.
Okay. Hair twirl.
I'm really opening up to you. She was always positive.
What was the experience called again?
Fall in love.
Fall in love. Okay.
But I mean, in this experience, you can't even ask your own stuff. It's just you have 3 things or 2 things you can ask. But it's funny, since it came out, it has those audio problems, and they have never been addressed. It's just not recognizing what you say. It's like they put a whole different line in there. So there's like a secret code thing you need to say, and then she's like, "Yeah, oh, I like that." But like,
it was funny.
Go, it works. It's weird, but I like the video. It's really funny.
There was a bit where you were trying to put on different accents because you weren't quite sure if it was understanding your accent. That had me cracking up.
I even went like a pitch higher, like, "Hi, it's nice to meet you," but also that didn't work.
What you need in those things, though, you always need like an American accent. Like I even find.
I tried that. I tried to put on an American accent. Wouldn't work.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what have you been up to, Zim? What have you been playing this week?
Well, you mentioned the coasters. That was one night flushed down the toilet. That was like my lowest that I've been in a long time. At the end of all those coasters, I was like, I can't do any more of these fucking coasters. Like, I like coaster sims. I'm such a fan. And there's some half decent like attempts, but they're either too short and they're paid, or they're free and they're rubbish. You know, hey, for the free ones, just go give them a go. But I don't know. Those were tough. The things I did like.
Yeah.
Go on.
I tuned into the show and you were just kind of like going, "This coaster sucks," and like shoveling chocolate.
I was.
Like you're trying to console yourself. It was really funny.
I have a hidden stash in my room of chocolate. That's one of my vices, and it was just like, you know what? There's only one thing that can make this better: whole nut bar of chocolate and just down it. But other than that, I made the mistake of getting competitive in Sprint Vector this week. I spent 2 hours straight racing who I will call the Michael Jordan of Sprint Vector. This kid from the States somewhere or Europe somewhere, I don't know. But he was he was 40 seconds ahead of everybody. He was the kind of guy who'd lay traps as he was racing. I just had it in me. You know, I'm a racer. So I'm like, I'm going to fucking take this kid down, right? And I did. 12 races in, my arms were falling off, but I took him. And just at the last bit, I hit him with one of these binding rockets, and it stuck him to the track, and I got past him, and I was just I was cheering. I'm sure my neighbors heard. I was just so happy. But 2 days later, I fucking fell apart. I'm not, when you're in your mid-30s, you do that kind of output when you're not used to it. It's bad news. So
was it here in your shoulders that you felt it the most? Because that's where I got it when I was playing it.
Mostly the biceps, actually. Mostly the biceps. Okay. Wasn't so much here, but yeah, it was mostly just the biceps. I still feel it. I still feel it here and here. It's just because it's that constant up and down motion. And the thing is, when you're in a competitive mind state, you just don't think, you don't feel pain. You just go. So,
you don't care,
Yeah. I mean, so I've gone from, in the closed beta, I wasn't very prime on Sprint Vector, but I had a very positive experience with the community. Guys were high-fiving me. It was a really friendly. I wouldn't say I walked out with any friends. But the people who I played with, the kind of single-serving friendship you hear about in, what's that movie where the guys, I can't give away, I'll come back to it. It's a Brad Pitt film.
Okay.
But anyway, single-serving friendships, I think it's actually pretty decent then,
Yeah, a lot of the community are really enjoying this one, and I'm glad that, it'll be interesting to see where they are in a few months' time, whether the community stick around or not. But right now, there's a lot of buzz around the game and people seem to be really digging it, which I like. I'm glad because it's kind of like one of those games that's creating a new genre for VR, and I really appreciate that.
Well, we've seen it sprinkled throughout the last couple of years, but the genre of kind of exercise VR, I think is going to cement as something that isn't just for play. It's actually for results. We saw it with Box VR. We saw it even as early as Audio Shield. People were using this for exercise. But you put competitive spin on that, and you can really get into it and lose yourself. It's cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see what your heart rate would be. On that final race when you was really pushing it. I'd love to see what that kind of peaked at. That would be really interesting.
I probably have that stat, by the way. But
okay.
I one thing I noticed, because I was talking to Servia as well. They launched in that, and they were asking me for some feedback because they were having some problems. On the European store, they weren't even listed. And that is horrible for a launch. And so I tried to get with any players on the European server, and it was just dead. But the North American servers were buzzing because they were listed. But I think if you didn't know Sprint Vector was out, you'd have to search for it by name to find it. Which, that's rough.
I did the same thing. I tried to find it, look on the PlayStation Store, and like you say, the only way you could find it on the UK store was if you actually searched for it.
Yeah.
It had titles listed on the store on the front page that weren't even out yet, like Moss, for example. But Sprint Vector wasn't there, so Sony really dropped the ball for Servios on this one.
It happened before as well. Like that store is very hard sometimes to find your game there. You need to search for some to find them, but like a game that just comes out needs to be on the front, of course. It needs to be on the front page.
There's like of that size. Of that size.
Yeah, especially if you're a developer, you put your heart and soul into a project for like a couple of years, and then you launch it, and then it's not anywhere on the store. I remember seeing like a indie game or something like that, the movie, on Netflix, and the developers for Super Meat Boy, they just launched their game on Xbox, and then it wasn't on the store. They had the same problem. And
absolutely.
you really felt their frustration. It was heartbreaking in a way.
Well, the important thing there, isn't it, Mike, that and people, I had to explain this to my father because he was interested in investing in VR, which is a great news for VR, by the way. But in terms of like the spike, the way game sales go is not often, unlike PUBG, which probably went a bit like that, curved up. Most games have a spike and they just taper off. Like that's so your day one is definitive for how many sales you're going to get in total. And if you're not storefront, I mean, what are they going to do? A week later, give them a storefront? Maybe it should help anyway.
Yeah. So let's kick it over to Nathie. Now you're back on track.
Yeah,
what have you been up to?
Track. I hope it sounds fine, by the way. If not, I'm sorry.
We can hear you okay.
My computer is punishing me for being awesome today. But hey, I played 2 games this week. I played the Zelda demos, a fan-made project by a game named Aklar 45.
Yeah.
But he made a few demos of battles that you can also do in all the classic Zelda games, but he rebuilt them in the Unreal Engine, and you can play them in VR too. So you can hold a sword and a shield, and you can shoot a bow and arrow. It's really cool. It's not really a game. It's more like an experience, I would say. But still, it's really nice if you like to go a little bit off the road. Then that's the thing you should give you should give it a try. You can fight Ganondorf. You can fight a giant spider. Armor as far as.
So it's actually it's interactive, Nathie.
It is.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you can also fight against a lava dragon, Bulgaria or something like that. I'm not very good with names here, but that one was really, really fun. It's free, by the way, so just look it up, Zelda VR. And then you will find those demos. And I played TSA Frisky too after Rowdy played it. I was like, I need to steal his views. So I played it too. But that's a joke. But anyways, it's a really fun game. You are in an airport and you need to frisk people. You need to scan them and see what they are carrying. And if it's something illegal, then you need to grab it and then put it into what is it, like a dumpster or something?
Yeah.
But they are carrying funny stuff like pickles and
Oculus headsets.
Rifts. Yeah, true. Quackuluses. That's how they call them there. That's also a fun one, and it's free too. So, at the moment, I'm really looking for the free experiences. Going back to.
It's like a pay what you want kind of thing. So if you want, you can give the developers a few dollars or.
And it's a sneak peek because they are going to bring out a full game. It started as a fun project, as a student project or something, and now they are actually a VR startup that is now trying to get it onto Steam and maybe Oculus Home too. So that's really, really cool.
Question for you.
Start as a.
Sorry to interrupt. Question for you on that one. Is there anything extreme in it? Because as a fan of that other border control game,
Papers, Please?
Papers, Please. Thanks, Mike. Is there anything extreme in it, or is it kind of cartoony?
It's cartoony. It's not a serious game.
Yeah. There is a VR game that touts to be the VR version of Paper Please, and that's called Border Control. I saw it teased on a website a couple of days back, and they're looking to they're currently trying to find funding to release in 2018. So maybe that'll be a bit more edgy, like the kind of game that you want, Zim.
Yeah, you know me. I like edgy stuff.
Yeah, Papers, Please was awesome, by the way. If you haven't played Papers, Please, check it out. But this week, I also, like Rowdy, played Brass Tactics, played with Zim, also played with Caleb from Reality Check VR.
See, he's like one of the guys who went like training, like hardcore for this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Caleb's gonna do well, and we'll talk more about that later because we're going to be part of a tournament which is being hosted next week. But we'll go more into Brass Tactics later on in the show as part of the topics. The other game that I played, or two games I should say, is Esper 1 and Esper 2, part of the Esper collection. It used to be like a Gear VR title, so it's been around for quite a while, but I never got to check it out because I don't have like a Gear VR headset.
It was also an Oculus title, by the way, an Oculus Rift title.
It was, you're right, but
Gamepad
only, exactly. So recently, the developers, CodeSync, they're a UK development company, re-released the collection for touch controls. So they implemented touch controls. So I thought, well, this is the perfect opportunity for me to dive back into this and actually experience it for the first time. So I went in completely blind, started playing Esper 1, and I just got so drawn into the gameplay.
What is it about?
So what you do is you play the role of a person who can control objects with their mind, and you're going through the Esper program, which is a program made by the government almost to make sure you're not a danger to society. So you've got to prove to them that you can solve these puzzles and you're not going to use it for bad. But essentially you get these increasing puzzles, a bit like Portal. Kind of gave me that vibe because it's got this humorous element to it. The story's there, and you've got these physics-based puzzles that you have to solve by using your touch controllers to move objects around. But it's really, really fun, and I really got drawn into it. And then as soon as I finished Esper 1, I just booted up Esper 2, and then I played them both back-to-back in a 4-hour session. I was just loving it.
That's really cool. Is the story good enough to suck you in, or is the story a little bit more...
it gives you that I expect you to die kind of vibe.
Oh, yeah.
You go from one level to the next one, a different environment. I think it's one of the first like titles that came out for Gear VR and also for Oculus Rift, by the way. So it's not bad.
The second one ramps everything up. So I would totally say go and do the first one first. But when you experience the second one, everything's been ramped up to 10.
And what is the part that drew you in so much then? What is it, the puzzles itself, or is it more the atmosphere or the gameplay?
It was the puzzles that kept me coming back because they increase in complexity and difficulty. So they're really satisfying when you solve them. But also it's kind of got this overarching story to it as well. More so in the second one than it is the first one. Like you escape the agent base facility at the beginning, and then you're in sort of an Aztec area, and then you go into like a dream world. I won't spoil any more, but there's a lot of environments in the second one, whereas the first one's you're just contained in this one room. But it's nice that they took the concept of the first one and really just cranked up it to 10 and sort of increased the graphics, increased the story. They even had voice actors such as Nick Frost, who's like a UK actor, voice over some of the characters in the second game as well. So it's a really cool experience. If you want to check it out, it's available on the Oculus Store, $7.99 in British pounds, $9.99 in US dollars. But it's about 4 hours for both games.
How did you find the touch implementation? Because when I only played Esper 2, but I played it through, and that was probably 2 years ago. How did you find, like, I suppose for the puzzles and things when you're rotating objects, were you using touch for that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So I never experienced it using like a Gear VR controller, so I don't really know how to compare it, but it worked really well on the Rift. I really enjoyed it. So
but are you actually like grabbing an object with your hand, or is it more that telekinetic power that just it's like a laser pointer that you use?
You're right. It is a laser pointer. You can't physically go and grab it. It's still like better as a seated experience because you're in a chair in the virtual environment as well. So I would recommend you sit down and play it, and then you just kind of point at a block, and then you can move it closer towards you or further away, and that kind of thing. So yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'd definitely check it out. But I also checked out the Zelda VR thing. I've only done one of them so far, which was the Armagoas level, the big spider one. But like Nathie said, for a fan-made experience, it's super polished and, of course, it's free. So check out Akla_45 on YouTube, and you can download all the experiences for free from the description in his videos. So that's really, really cool. So nice job on that one. But yeah, so that's what we've been up to this week. So let's jump into the first topic, and that is the Winter Olympics in VR. So the Winter Olympics are going on right now in Pyeongchang in South Korea. They started on the 9th of February, and they'll run through all the way to the 25th of February. But Intel are actually kind of sponsoring the whole event by offering VR sort of recording and streaming. And what they're saying is you can watch a lot of the VR Olympics. Actually, 50 hours worth of live events are going to be viewable in VR. But unfortunately, it's the way they've implemented it that's the not so good thing, because it's great that we can watch this content in VR. I appreciate that, and I appreciate where they're pushing it forward. And VR is becoming more mainstream and being used for live events and stuff like that, for football and things. I think it would be great as well. But unfortunately for this, first of all, it's only locked to the US. So again, the Europeans and everyone else get screwed over. And you can only view this content through mobile VR or Windows mixed reality platform. So you can download, if you do have either of those, like a Gear VR or, using Google Cardboard, for example, or a Windows MR headset, you can go to your local app store and download NBC Sports VR, which is like where you can watch this content through. But then you have to input your cable provider's information to prove that you've actually got a cable provider and you're actually paying for a cable subscription. And then you can watch the VR content.
Oh. Wow.
So it kind of sucks.
Very
that
gated,
it's not
isn't it?
Exactly. And
Why isn't that
that's
free? Like over here in my country, we can just watch the Olympics for free. But,
yeah, of course. Yeah, everyone can watch the Olympics for free, but
since
not
it's
in
an
VR.
American app, maybe that you need to prove.
Nah,
to
it
them,
probably has to do with the fact that those kind of companies, they probably pay a lot of money to get the exclusive rights to send that out.
Exactly.
That has to do with it. And you can watch it for free in your own country, but if you, for example, are in Belgium and I want to watch it on the Dutch website, I won't be able to do so because it's region locked with those kind of things, because there's a lot of money involved to get rights to send something out like that. And it sucks, but it kind of makes sense as well.
I do like the whole concept of watching the Winter Olympics. Let's say we would all sit together at like a place up front and watch snowboarding and then socialize. That would be so freaking epic. And if you see the trailer they have for this Winter Olympics VR app, it looks so cool, like standing on the ice, like, wow, let's go, that would be so nice. But the truth is a little different, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like some of the stuff that's been, I don't know if you guys have been watching much of the Olympics, but I watched Shaun White's snowboard run, and it was just like, that guy, like what he can do on a snowboard is incredible. And to be sitting on the half pipe and watching him perform those tricks would have been a real magical experience. It's just unfortunate, like you say, it's gated off and only a select few can experience it right now.
I don't know if I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast last week, but when we were talking about Tesla and the Heavy Falcon, or the Falcon Heavy, I wanted VR there, right? And this is just kind of a persistent desire now. I just want a VR camera or to be able to be in the environment. I mean, it's a baseline for me now, right? 3-4 years of this, it's like, that's what I expect. And to only have it on mobile, I can see why they're being gated about it. But it is a kind of a disappointment. The other thing I would just say is, I find the Olympics a very interesting thing. I was in London when they did the Olympics, and then obviously went to the Olympics now. But it's not something that really attracts me that much. I mean, I appreciate what it is and all that, but I don't personally watch it. I mean, the rest of you guys watch the Olympics? Is this something you're?
But I think for me, say they had a 360 or like experience where you can experience it in VR, and it's on the front of a bobsled.
Yeah, I meant. What about V? Like, have you guys played V before? The social app? Like, you can sit on the side of a cliff, a mountain face, right? Where you've got a little encampment hanging, and the four of you are sitting side by side. Oh. It's a little bit like, not Big Space. What am I, like you, love these guys, the TV.
Big screen.
Big screen, thank you. It's like Big Screen, but you're sitting side by side. If you could do that, like what Nathie said, be side by side on a bench and watch together and almost see the other headset people's reactions. You're not sitting on the same couch, but you're sitting on couches afar from, like the four of us could be sitting watching an event and produce a video that says reactions to the Olympics. You know, that would actually be fun. Loads of people would watch that. So, I mean, it's just like...
No, if they can mix it up with like a 360 environment that is still like 3D in a way, then it's fine. If you're like in just a low quality 360 that is getting streamed, then you know it's But Mike, you haven't really told us about like what it exactly is. So when you boot up this app, what can you do? What are the possibilities?
So the NBC Sports VR app, so it's obviously tied to NBC, and it's a US-based cable company anyway, so that kind of makes sense that you have to provide your cable information. So you boot up the application, and then they've got a schedule on the Intel website of all the events that you can watch live. And like I said, they are live, so it is kind of cool. It's not like a pre-recorded thing. And then you can just fire up the app and then jump into that live experience when one is running. Put that in your Gear VR, your cardboard, or your Windows mixed reality headset, and then just experience the event, however long that goes on for. From the initial feedback from people that have checked it out, they said actually that some of the less interesting events, let's say, like the curling, for example, which is an event where you have an ice sheet and you slide a stone. It's kind of like bowls, but on ice. They said that's actually probably one of the better VR experiences out of all of them, because it's a fixed camera and there's not much moving, so you can appreciate it more. Yeah, exactly. Whereas with everything else, it's kind of a bit fast. And it's
also artifacting. Artifacting, I've noticed, like in 360-degree video, if there's a lot of motion in the scene, it's a real problem because you have that compression. The other thing I was going to say is, because Nathie mentioned this, what I want, right? 360 around me, not good enough. I want the stereoscopy. I want the full VR environment. And I've seen it in a few things. Unfortunately, those were adult things. And the way that they capture an environment takes a whole surround of cameras. Like you couldn't easily do that for the Olympics. I can't imagine how they're going to eventually break that and solve that. I don't know. Do you guys know of any experiences right now that you've done which are like that, where it's like full-on photogrammetry for the entire scene in motion? You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
not 360.
Like in the how is that application called from Valve again?
Not the lab.
I know what you're talking about.
Where they have like a photogrammetry of like the church, and you can like walk around.
Oh right, yeah.
Go in the church,
but that's static, right?
Yeah.
No, that's not true. That's not static.
No, it is static. No. It's a statically captured environment. There's nothing moving in the environment.
No, the water is moving, the grass is moving, those kind of things.
Yeah.
But that's animated in post. It's not.
Yeah. Of
it's
course.
Like, and you've got a bird flapping and stuff. But I'm saying
that live, that's like a lot of work. Yeah. But that's it. Like right now, we still haven't seen a next level live experience going on. If you can blend in 360 nicely with a 3D environment, let's say you have snowboarding and it's a 360, but it's kind of far away, and you put like 3D trees in front of it, and you can sit there, and there's stuff moving around it that perfectly makes sense in the scene. And then it works. But as long as you are just sitting in the middle of that low quality 360. I can't call a low 360 VR. Okay,
yeah, you
it's
can't.
just a flat image.
But like you say,
all the time. It's also with like the movies, and like just a casual 360 doesn't do the trick. It needs to be more, you know.
But like you mentioned, Zim, it's the adult industry that is pushing this technology forward, and I'm sure myself and the VR industry.
Great job at that.
Thank you for your, your investment into science. Thank you.
Although,
yeah, you're right.
I have to say though, like I think it would be, as a soccer fan, it would be really cool if you would have like multiple cameras on the sideline or attached to the goal, that you could watch like replays.
No. Attached to the players. I want GoPros on every player that you can go. Like you want to be riding on the shoulder of your favorite dude. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, that won't happen anytime soon. But like a camera attached to like every goalpost, or like a camera or attached to like, the corner post, or like on the sidelines, and you can like watch replays like that.
I agree.
I would freaking dig that. I would like that.
But this is the problem with that kind of content as well, is when you have a lot of choice. And I think we mentioned it on another show, but it's not a curated experience.
That's right.
So you could be like on a goalpost and then miss the vital shot.
Only replays. I would only be interested for replays.
Right. Okay.
All the rest, it wouldn't be happening.
if you watch television, then they have a book in there with all like, okay, this is the camera we are going to show then, and then it goes to that one. So there's like a format for that. But with VR, it's not there yet. It's not like, okay, so when the ball's going that way, how can we make the player look at that in a way it's not making them motion sickness, it's not going too fast, it's really like nice to look at. As Mike said, if you watch curling, okay, then it's, well, fairly slow, but if you have soccer, it's really fast. So how can you put like cameras on the right spot? I think if they figure that out, then you can do it with every soccer game. Because
I actually have experience from something like this on Twitch. They did DayZ tournaments called the Survivor Games. And this is, so if you have a blended, curated experience, so you have like a spine which you can log into, and there, you know, someone is a producer and broadcasting and making sure that along the way you have, you know, you have a particular view. The issue with that, if you have like 32 players playing competitively or a PUBG match or something like that, is that oftentimes the producer is not in the right place. Like, more often than not, if you are watching your favorite 6 players, you can focus in on the action faster than they can actually come around to it, and sometimes they just miss it completely. But it's an amazing, that's one of the draws of Twitch actually, is that you have like so many different views, and I think that it's one of the attractions of next week's event is going to be, you know, being able to look at different people's perspectives in a competitive environment. And it's the same thing we want here. We want to see the Olympics from the right perspectives.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe, you never know, they might fix all this stuff out and it'll come to all VR headsets. You know, maybe when the Olympics is in Tokyo in 2020, we'll all be able to experience this and jump in and experience it together and have a few.
Have we had any experiences so far? Because as far as I know, they've all been mobile.
All been mobile, yeah. Or like on the Windows mixed reality platform, yeah. So kind of sucks, and you have to be in the US, of course. So you can't even go onto YouTube.
It's funny.
We shouldn't be angry at the US for not doing. We should be angry at our own countries for not making this available for us.
Yeah, I am. I'm angry at everyone.
But every time you see a VR title come out on PC or mobile, they usually try to really hide that fact that it's for US only. It's the same with some deals. We are going to talk about the PlayStation VR later on, but sometimes you're like, wow, that's great. And then you don't even know it's like US only, but they want you to log in and then find out, because then you already have it and then you're like halfway in.
Yeah,
so,
of course. So moving on from the Olympics, let's move on to something that is super awesome that we can all share, and that is the new Ready Player One trailer. So if you've been living under a rock for like the last year and you've never heard of Ready Player One, then now is the time to listen up, because this is going to be super important for the VR industry, I think, and it's going to be releasing on the 29th of March, so not that long away now. It's based on a book called Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, and the movie is being directed by Steven Spielberg, so you can't really ask for bigger pedigree than that, really. What we're going to do is, on this episode, we're going to play the trailer for you, so you can check out the trailer for yourself. It's going to be friggin' awesome. So sit back, relax, check out this trailer right now, and then we'll talk a bit more about it after the trailer has played. So hit it, maestro.
You want me to do the audio as well? Because it's been running, actually.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, I'll start her over and we'll do some audio.
Yeah. It'd be cool to actually play the whole thing.
Where's the popcorn?
Yeah, exactly. We'll give a drink.
Come with me.
Cheers, Mike.
This is the Oasis. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination. People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do, but they stay because of all the things they can be. I'm here talking to all of you now because our future's being threatened. Go! I just came here to escape, but I found something much bigger than myself. I found my friends.
What up, Z?
I found love. And now, people have lost their lives. No.
This is war. We're in control of the future.
Find him. Welcome to the rebellion, Wade. You don't tell anyone who you are. You can't use your real name. something. This isn't just a game. I'm talking about actual life and death stuff.
What's going on?
Just practicing my Mario Kart! Come on!
Ask yourself, are you willing to fight?
Come with me.
All right.
What do you think of that then, dude? You've not. Is this the first time you've seen it, Zim?
No. I watched it.
What about
second
you?
it launched.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put the audio on now because there will be a time desync, of course. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. I mean, I think the first trailer looked cool. I like this kind of concept, but it's hard to like judge a movie by a trailer. I think, there's so much stuff going on. I haven't read the book, so I'm guessing that you know a lot more about this than I do, Mike.
Yeah, of course.
Too. I'm kind of wondering how they're going to draw this into like a straightforward story. So yeah, I'm kind of interested. Yeah.
So the basic story, to let you know a bit of an overview without too many spoilers, is that you've got the main character who's called Wade Watts. He plays the main character, and his avatar is called Parzival in the Oasis, which is the virtual world. The world has kind of gone to shit, and essentially the Oasis is the only place that people tend to go now to get enjoyment, have education, meet up with friends. That's all they do now, just in the Oasis, because the real world is so sucky. So they all put on VR headsets to go into this Oasis. But the guy that created the Oasis, like a Mark Zuckerberg type character who invented the whole thing, just dies suddenly. And then he's like, well, what I did was before I died, I hid an Easter egg in the Oasis, which is like the size of like a solar system, for example, to give it a bit of perspective. Mm-hmm. And whoever finds the Easter egg will take control over the whole Oasis. And then there's this like evil corporation called IOI who make all the technology, but they just want to monetize the Oasis. So they are trying to hunt for the egg themselves. And to obtain the egg, you need to find 3 hidden keys within the virtual world. And whoever finds them obviously takes control. But the main character, he stumbles across the first key, and then things just snowball out of control for him. But it's going to be a super cool movie, I hope. The book was freaking awesome.
Book was very good. I was
when did you guys read this? Like, did you read it before you got interested in virtual reality, or was it after it?
Yeah, it was about the same sort of time, because they kind of coincided a little bit. Like, the book's a few years old now, but it was around the DK1 days that it came out, I'm pretty sure. But the thing with the book is, and the same with the movie, is it's got so many references in it from pop culture, like he drives a DeLorean from Back to the Future, for example. But like in the book, it's got the Ghostbusters logo on the side of it. It's kind of like a real mashup of franchises and stuff. And obviously in the trailer, you see at the end there's tons of different Easter eggs in the trailer itself. And there's a section where people are running down the road with VR headsets on, and then it switches to like the Oasis, and they're actually like Spartans from Halo. And they're sort of like getting into the fight. So I think it's going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
I even think I saw like parts from like Final Fantasy. I thought.
Yes.
I wasn't sure.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Cool.
They've updated it though. They've really taken artistic license with this, which I appreciate. Although I don't personally like it, I appreciate that they've done that, because I think to make that book relevant, you can't just take the references just in the book and present them, because the audience who's going to view the movie is not necessarily going to see the people who read the book. So it makes sense to kind of take current pop culture and imbue that in. I read it in 2014 because this is how my show started. DK2 went live, and a dude who now is a part of my team badgered me for 3 months to read the book. And then I read the book, and it's a fantastic book. It's actually really good. There's almost too many references in it, because I'd say 70% of them I got, having been a kid who grew up through the 80s and 90s, but some of them just went over my head. I mean, there's a lot in there. And if you got through that book not feeling a couple of pulls to your childhood or whatever, I'd be surprised. I mean, the way it peels the story out, I just hope the movie can do it justice. Because now, to me, I'm seeing Transformers, lots of Flash, and like, if you take me back to the original Star Wars films, which I do like, but I wouldn't call myself a Star Wars fan, it's the characters. And it's the bond between the characters that makes the film. And I'm not seeing that yet in the film, but maybe they're just not showing that.
Let me ask you this: like, would you still recommend the book to kids now?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's timeless, I'd say.
Yeah, or if you don't have time to read the book, I would say download the audio book on iTunes or something like that from Audible.
Okay. It's
it's read by Will Wheaton actually.
Actually, that's how I did it. I did the audiobook, which was really good. So Will Wheaton does a great job of voicing it out. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
Every time that someone says the name Will Wheaton, I need to think of that episode with Stewie Griffin.
Yeah, I always think of the Big Bang Theory because they always talk about Will Wheaton in the Big Bang Theory. So yeah, that is.
I got a very juicy theory on this whole Ready Player One launch that is happening next month. So yeah, I'm very, very hyped up for the movie. I did a few videos on my channel already. I don't know how many I can make more of this, but right now I feel like I want to watch it twice. But yeah, I'm also curious how this whole thing is going to work with all those characters in there. I don't feel like there's going to be that much going on with those characters. It's not like they're all gonna talk and have their own personality. You know, you will see them pop up maybe sometimes, but I don't feel like that's going to happen with many because it takes so much work. Plus licensing, like you can have the character, but can you also have the voice? Can you have this? Can you have that? So there's so many rules for like a movie to even make this. It's very special to see so many characters.
It would be cool if they would like hide like keys around for like tickets to the premiere or something.
They are doing something.
You know, the best thing they could do, Nine Inch Nails did this a while back, dropping USB keys in like restrooms around the place at gigs is what they did. They could do something like this, like just scatter them in like cinemas, like around, I don't know, multiple countries, you know, with data that has to be unencrypted or something. That would be awesome.
But seriously, keep your eyes open. There are some Easter eggs in there. We're not going to spoil anything, but just it's not that hard to find. But just keep your eyes open, and you will find some stuff. But the juicy theory here is so HTC is the official VR partner. That's how they call themselves for Ready Player One. What does that mean? No one really knows. Usually what you can expect is, 360 VR experience of the movie or something like The Rock. I don't hope we're going to get a Jumanji VR title for Ready Player One. Especially for Ready Player One, that would be a disaster because Ready Player One is kind of like about VR, you know, the Oasis, the metaverse. But the juicy theory I saw popping up on my timeline yesterday was one of my subscribers said, what if HTC is going to launch the Vive Pro together with the movie when it comes out? Because they said something about Q1 here, Q2, I don't really know. But this could be the moment for them to launch this. And I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe there's like a Ready Player One VR game coming out. I don't think it's going to be a VR game.
No, I don't think so.
But like we haven't seen anything VR related yet to the movie. Yeah. So if that's maybe hardware or maybe a game or an experience, I think it's going to be an idea. You know?
What about what if they did the avatar trick? I don't know. I haven't heard it. Does anyone have any details on whether or not this is going to be in 3D? Because they could launch it as basically a side-by-side stereo in the headset packaged with it and sell it that way. That could be a tie-in.
I hope if it's going to be like indeed like a movie package, I'm still hoping it will be like more of a VR experience and a 3D experience.
Yeah, but you're not going to sell that headset with a VR experience that is free. So then it must be like a little game of like 2-3 hours. That's the only option, I guess. But it's interesting though. It could be a good moment, and the Vive Pro I think it's ready to go. There's not really anything that they need to wait for. Maybe just the right moment to sell it, of course.
They could. I know what they could do, Nathie. Actually, spinning off of that idea of yours, they could do what Doom did. So they could take all the 3D CGI characters and put them in a VR environment for you to explore and experience, so that you could see them in the scale that they were and all the detail. I would be interested in something like that. Like that's quite a cool, compelling VR experience, even if there's no game involved. Actually, it's just viewing the characters.
That is a good point, because that's what I miss a lot with like these movies that want to make like a VR adoption. Instead of like making it like a game experience, like that awful thing they did with Halo Recruit and that awful thing that they did with Jumanji, just make it something simple that you can experience like it's a roller coaster. Like, you know, like I would love, and I've said this already a couple of times, if they make a Jurassic Park movie, don't make like a Jurassic Park game where you need to shoot dinosaurs. No, just put me in like a freaking roller coaster and let me go through the theme park watching it.
Well, they already did that with did that with Ready Player One, because Sanzar made an experience that you can go around and explore and see the characters and iconic vehicles.
That's I think much
better.
But
what I'm hoping is that they do something different from that. So it's not just this Sanzar experience, because if they just say, "Oh yeah, the Sanzar experience is here as well," then that would kind of be a bit disappointing.
No. I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, this is one opportunity they can take, because we have never seen a movie coming out that is about VR. So this is their moment to shine. They are the official partner. They have been silent for so long now. They did retweet the trailers and they did share some stuff. But this is their moment to, like, you can, let's say if it's a toothbrush or something very simple, you can just put Ready Player One on there and it sells. And that's what you saw with the Minions. You saw that with almost like every movie. You know, everyone wants to have Minion, banana, Tic Tacs, and candy, and onesies, and shoes.
But maybe it's much more stupid than that. And maybe it's just that, you know, in the beginning of the movie, when they go into the Oasis, that they just use the HTC Vive.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well,
maybe that is it. Like, or it uses the Vive Pro or something.
It's like they've shown the headset, so that can't be right. Because I mean, they've shown the HMD that the guy is using, right? I mean, they're not going to say like, oh, because the way the book goes, I mean, not to spoil anything, you know, he does upgrade his headset, and I don't think they're going to be like stepping from the shitey HTC Vive Pro to the modern one. That wouldn't do well for their product.
There's so many possibilities of what you can do with a movie. Like, you guys, like, if you have ever been to a movie, you can sometimes see that they bring out a game, they bring out cornflakes or whatever. It could be that the Vive Focus or the Vive Pro is going to be at every cinema, and you can play a VR experience there, and people can think about like buying one maybe, or they are going to use it in their advantage for sure. And
so interesting.
I don't really know.
Interesting thing about the Vive Pro is that I'm actually going to be able to try one out. I'm going to be trying one out on Friday. So I'm heading down to Brighton. There's an event going on down there called VR in a Bar, and it's being hosted by Virtual Umbrella. A few people from the VR community and some devs are going down there to try out the Vive Pro. So I should, next week's episode, be able to tell you what my first thoughts are on that headset.
Umbrella Corporation.
Yeah, not the Umbrella Corporation. They're evil, and
Mike,
they spawn zombies. So,
if you're bleeding from the eyes next week, then we'll know, you know, that something went wrong. But I'm really curious to know, what's your exposure to the Vive, so we know what you're benchmarking it off of. Because how much exposure have you had to a Vive?
So I've only tried a Vive like a handful of times.
So you'll be basically, this is good actually, because you'll be comparing it to the Rift. That's your primary, that's your daily driver, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
So it will be interesting indeed. So moving on from Ready Player One, which is going to be freaking awesome, I think, to something else that is freaking awesome, and that is the PSVR has price dropped like a rocket, like a stone, in fact. Yeah. And it's going to be $100 less on most bundles. So again, these are the US prices, US bundles. Yep. But if you're interested in picking up a PSVR, now is the right time. Well, more specifically, tomorrow. Tomorrow, the 18th of February to the 3rd of March, you can grab a PSVR from the PlayStation Store. These are the bundles that they're offering, so check this out. So the lowest bundle, $199, that will get you the old model PSVR, the PSVR camera, and Gran Turismo Sport. So that's $199, which is pretty incredible, really. You know, if you own a PS4 and you're even remotely interested in VR, I would say just go and get one, because that is
the funny thing is, we say almost with every price drop of the PSVR, we say, if you don't get one now, you know, you really should get one. But
that's true.
Because I'm keep on saying this, it's a brilliant headset. It really works flawlessly, and it's unbelievable that they can bring it down to that price. I think at that price it beats the competition.
Yeah, honestly, at that price, I mean, they are going to war, and I love it, because it is to the benefit. Because they know what's happening this year, right? You got the Pro launching, you got Go, so you got all these different players. They're striking when the iron is hot, right in the center, saying, we're already the biggest market, let's just go wider, you know? That's what they're doing.
They are growing their like user base so freaking fast every time with these sales. It's nuts. It is. And in the meanwhile, in Europe, we still need to pay like €350 for PlayStation VR. But hey, I don't know. If they would have done it in Europe too, that would have been great. But yeah, we all know that the US is pretty big VR wise. But I hope they will do some sales in Europe too. You know.
So the $199 bundle, that is with the older generation headset though, and this is probably why they're doing it at that price, because they want to get rid of their old inventory, right?
I still have that one.
But it's like the difference between those headsets is almost nothing.
Yeah,
by the way.
You're right. And I'll come on to the minutiae of the details between the two very shortly. But the next price point is $299. So this is the new model of the PSVR with the PSVR camera, and this one is bundled with Doom VFR. So it's $100 more expensive, but all you're getting is the slightly newer model of the headset essentially, and Doom VFR over Gran Turismo. No PS aim controller, no. So what I would probably say is go for the $199 one and just buy Doom VFR.
Yeah.
And then you're getting Gran Turismo and Doom VFR for like $250 probably.
But GT is a throwaway, frankly.
Oh right, okay.
It's not there's only a segment of it that's VRified. It's not a proper race game. If you want a proper race game, get Dirt Rally on PS4.
I didn't know that.
That's a great VR game, by the way. But yeah, no, I think don't even include that as something in your consideration of the bundle. That's a throwaway addition. Doom is decent, but again, just buy it if you find it interesting.
So this is the best bundle, I think, in my opinion, and it's $349. You get the new model PSVR, the PSVR camera, the Move controllers, and Skyrim.
Fucking hell. Yeah, do that now. Do that now. That's Zim's bundle right there. Do that now. Go buy it.
I knew Zim was going to like that one.
I didn't actually see that one. I saw the 199 model, but I didn't see that. That is an amazing package.
Yeah.
But so, $199 plus Skyrim, how much would that be then?
Yeah, but you would need controllers as well. You might be able to pick them up cheap, but, it's still a great bundle.
Oh, it's fucking great.
So that bundle, the $349 Skyrim bundle, would have usually been $449. So you're getting $100 off that as well.
Yeah.
Originally, you would have just paid that for the headset, just the headset, no controllers, no game. Fucking hell, that's brilliant.
Skyrim's a game that you could think like hundreds of hours in, right? Zim?
I'm already 80 hours in, and I think I've completed 4 quests.
But there's so many good titles in PSVR, and there's still so many good ones that are coming. It's a really good investment, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And if you buy a PSVR during this bundle, go and look for Sprint Vector on the store. If you can't see it, go and look for it.
Look for it, right?
Yeah.
And if you have a PS4, you should already have a PSVR because the last price drop that we set.
It means you're not listening.
Yeah.
It's weird though. I posted it on my Facebook, and there were still people like, well, it's still a little bit too expensive.
It is, though.
It's like, are you kidding me?
It is. Like, you're 16,
this
right?
This is your moment.
Yeah.
But hey, also, this is really cool. If you do not own a PlayStation, okay, because you still need to buy the PlayStation 2 if you want to get it.
Yeah, of course.
If you want to use it with the PlayStation VR, it makes sense. You can't just put the cable on the floor and it works. Yeah. But there is one thing you could do, and if you like to just fiddle around with VR and your computer, you could hook up your PlayStation VR to your computer as well and use it. So
really?
For $200,
you can
use a PlayStation VR on your computer. Now, of course, it's like a little like fiddling around, and you need to do some stuff. But if you like that, and you're like, okay, well, $200, let me just get this headset. Then this is your moment. We said it many times before, but. Yeah.
Intriguing. I'll have to have a look into that. I've never heard of that before.
It's kind of under like an underdog fact, but it works. Yeah.
Nice. And you can play Steam VR titles with it, maybe?
I never tried.
I can't imagine that it will be. I mean, the tracking will be
amazing. It's not
right.
But it's
great,
but
but
that's
it does
just great.
Yeah. Okay. So just to go into the differences between like the older version of the PSVR and the newer model, like Zim mentioned, the differences between the two are really negligible. And really, is it worth the extra money? I don't know. It all depends really whether you've got a 4K TV or not, to be honest. because the new model has a HDR pass-through on the breakout box. And basically what that means is high dynamic range. So if you've got like a 4K TV and you've got content like on the PS4 Pro, for example, and you want to play your games with HDR enabled, because they do make them look a little bit prettier on your 4K TV, then that's maybe why you would go with the new model PSVR. But let's be honest about it, if you've already got a 4K TV and a PS4 Pro, you know, like you're gonna sink your money into the top of the range headset anyway. So, you know, other than that, the only difference is it's slightly more ergonomic in terms of design, because the cable that it is detachable now, and it's also a lot lighter than the previous version. So that's going to be a little bit nicer for you. And also the earbuds have got a new location to slot in for your audio. And it's just sort of a little bit more thought out in terms of little sort of tweaks, but nothing great in terms of advancements. You know, the display, everything else is exactly the same. So
that's what I like. That's what I like about PlayStation.
Yeah.
Even if there's an upgrade there, it's not like they are going for a big leap. You know, everything is so fair. You know, like if you can buy that, then fine. If you got the older one, you're okay too. You know, it's not really a problem. So
so there we have it.
Kicking it like
go get yourself
the rest right now with their great prices.
Yeah, go get yourself a PSVR. So like I say, the deal's only going to run until the 3rd of March and starts tomorrow, which is the 18th of February.
I think it's worth saying, Mike, if people are interested in picking up this deal and they don't have a PlayStation yet, personal recommendation, because I played on both, just do the extra for the PS4 Pro. It is worth it for the extra frame rate, slightly extra fidelity. Skyrim, there's a notable difference between the two. There's good side-by-sides on the internet. Go check them out. I think PSVR Frank did one a while back for Skyrim. So, but the difference is enough that I'd say it's worth the extra cash if you don't have a console yet.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so moving on to from PSVR to Brass Tactics. So this is a sort of a fairly big launch because it's kind of been a bit of a slow start to the year. Brass Tactics, if you don't know anything about it, is made by a studio called Hidden Path. It was originally released, due for release in October 2017, but got pushed back to February this year. I guess it just gave them more time to put a bit of polish on it and implement some more mechanics and stuff in the game. And I also reckon that it probably gave them the opportunity to add some voice acting into the game as well, because if you didn't know that the guy Aidan Gillen, who plays Littlefinger from Game of Thrones, is actually a voice actor in this game as well. He's like the main enemy. So he's the kind of taunting you and telling you how much you suck at the game, which is kind of funny. Yeah. But like Brass Tactics is a real-time strategy game at heart. It's the lead designer from Age of Empires 2 was involved in the game's development. So it's kind of got real-time strategy in its blood. And what you essentially do is you overlook a tabletop battlefield and have a choice of different units, different playstyles, and you sort of gather resources to fund building your army, which then you can then, you know, send along the way to destroy the enemy units and ultimately take over your opponent's castle. So that's kind of the aim of the game. Rowdy,
God damn it, man! You do that online. I look over, I see him doing eye drops, and it totally fucking
throws me off my stride. But yeah, you know, you've got different tactics involved. You've got different units that you can deploy. You can also upgrade your castle, so it's all tactical as well. So your tactical advantage over which points you choose over the battlefield as well can sway the tide of battle as well. And you know, it's cool because there's two parts to this game as well. There's a free-to-try model, and then there's the actual paid full game. And I love it when games do this, and I think it's a really wise way of getting your game out there, because Lone Echo did it. Like, it had Echo Arena, which was a free experience. It gave you a taste of the mechanics of the game, the movement of the game, but in a sort of multiplayer competitive arena. And the same with this game as well. Like with Brass Tactics, they've got Brass Tactics Arena, which is free and is out right now. Came out 2 days ago, the 15th of February. And during the free part of the game, the Brass Tactics Arena, you can play one map, multiplayer or competitively, and the first 2 story missions, which essentially are the tutorials that will guide you through how to play the game, and then you can play online as much as you want on this one map. And then obviously you've got the full game, which is due out next week, which is the 22nd of February, and that's going to have like a 6-hour story-driven campaign. and over 20 maps that you can play, like multiplayer, competitive, co-op, everything on. So that's kind of cool. So have you guys been checking this out as well? Like, obviously, I know that I've been playing with Zim, completely wrecked him with a couple of my dragons.
Don't remember that at all, Mike.
Yeah, you have selective memory.
I just remember chocolate last week. That's all I remember. Just lots of chocolate.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but I'm interested in checking it out. One of the main questions I always have after like a launch like this, like how long is the multiplayer going to last? How many people are still going to play this after a few months? That's something you can't really answer. You need to just wait and see what happens. I am surprised, by the way, that they are using the Oculus avatars again in game. I feel like they're always like kind of the thing that is not really getting used that much, but over here you can finally show off your character
exactly.
a bit more. It's a nice feature you can use in Oculus Home where you can dress up and really look like yourself, but I never see any like game out there where they really use them. And
it actually surprised me.
I saw you guys playing,
yeah,
and Zim looked like Zim.
Yeah. I got surprised because when I wasn't playing Mike, I was surprised by the fact that it looked like Mike. I was like, Mike's in. Oh, right, that's the because it's a bit like their Wii model, right? So it's like having the Wii characters or whatever.
That's true. So I'm happy they are using that again.
Agree.
That's already like an improvement. And we're not even talking about the gameplay mechanics yet. I like the fact they put like Littlefinger in there. Is he called Littlefinger in the game too, or
no, he's
they
not.
Just use a different name?
They use a different name. Yeah.
Like imagine this game, like Brass Tactics, Game of Thrones edition.
Absolutely.
Bam.
It feels like it because when you upgrade your castle, the way the castle opens up and
like the intro of Game
it
of
does.
Thrones.
It looks like the intro of Game of
No,
Thrones.
you're right. Yeah, you're right. That's really nice. But anyway, I'm not going to talk more because I haven't played it, so I'm going to.
Yeah. So what do you think, Rowdy? You played it. You said you're struggling a little bit. Littlefinger is giving you a hard time.
Littlefinger is giving me a pretty hard time. Like, and I've still set it to easy, so I don't know what I'm doing. I know that the first time that I played it through is since you played the tutorial, and the only thing that the tutorial explains to you are like the 3 basic units, which was like archers, swordsmen, and cavalry.
Yeah.
So I went against Lord Baelish thinking there was only these 3 units, and I was there with like my 18 units of archers or whatever I had, and he had like freaking tanks and fire-breathing dragons and like mortar and cannons, and I was just getting wrecked the first time. And the second time I realized there were more units, but I started building them way too late, and I don't know.
I think you've really got to manage your resources and do your castle upgrades as quickly as you possibly can, really.
Yeah. So regarding your resources, do different kinds of lands give you different kind of resources, or is it just?
Yeah, they do. So some lands will have 2 tower points on them. If you capture those 2 towers and put a tower down on each, then that will gather you more resources. But also, pro tip, there is a castle upgrade that you can unlock fairly quickly at the beginning that will increase your ore productivity. Yeah, exactly.
So
that.
So can you explain how this game looks and plays from the start for the people that haven't really seen a trailer yet or are listening right now? How does it look? So it's a table, right?
Yeah, so if you can imagine in your mind, like if you've ever heard of like the Warhammer series, like where they have like big tabletops of like landscapes, and then you've got these little tiny like models that you can move around. That is essentially what it is in VR. So you've got this huge tabletop arena in front of you that is a landscape. There's tons of different maps. And then you've got these little units, and like Rowdy mentioned, you've got archers, warriors, and cavalry to start off with. And then as soon as you start upgrading and capturing regions, you earn more money, and then you can unlock more upgrades. So then you can get dragons, you can get artillery, you can get tanks, all sorts of different characters. So really, really cool. But a lot of them, a bit like rock, paper, scissors, they counter each other. So archers, for example, will be really strong against warriors. And then if you have archers, then they will be really weak against cavalry. So it kind of, you've got to keep an eye on what your enemy's doing. And if they're doing something, then you can say, right, okay, they're doing this. Let's go with this one to sort of react to
There's
their
also a lot
gameplay.
of micro in the game. There's a lot of micromanagement for those who are RTS players. That's anyway. Mike, one of the strategies he employed against me when we weren't playing was that he would try to bait my guys into his territory. He's like, I'm going to go pull you over here. I'm like, feck you, Mike, when I was not playing him. And, it was interesting to watch what you were doing, but seeing those call them fugly gold trees on the landscape. I guess those are gold sources, and I kind of worked it out toward the end of us not playing. So it was good. It was a good first run, but I think that for next week's competition, if anyone goes in cold, you're screwed because
you've got to do the tutorials.
It's a completely symmetrical experience.
Yeah.
And that kind of, like right now, the one thing I'd say to Nathie's point, right? How long is the tail going to be for people? I actually think that right now, in the RTS or strategy space, there aren't very many offerings in VR, and therefore they have a longer tail. The big example there is Dragonfront. If you look at Dragonfront, you log in today, you will find 50 concurrent players playing that game. It's very successful, actually, for these players. It's not like an FPS. It's really interesting.
That is true. But what I do want to say is there have been more of these kind of titles, and they didn't go anywhere. And the titles you are naming here are the ones that Oculus was. Well, they weren't funding those titles, but they are kind of on the platform, so they can keep them alive in a way. But
they're doing a big release with this, though.
Then I don't know what is going to happen.
They're doing a very big release with this, though. So Oculus is going full on with this one.
And also, I think it's a game for a different audience because there's so many competitive multiplayer games out there where you're like running around with a gun or like Sprint Vector where you have to run like crazy.
That's my point.
Not everyone wants to do that. Like some people just want to sit down and think about things tactically and work out strategically what they're going to do. Yeah. And I think this caters to that audience.
That's what disappointed me about the game, actually, Mike, is that I feel like it's very much... It's a Counter-Strike RTS. And what I mean by that is Counter-Strike was a game where if you memorized I can get to this point, that person can get to that point, you can throw a flashbang, if you can memorize it, there's no dynamic nature to that. And so for the first beginning component of the game, I'll tell you what I'm talking about here. So it is a symmetrical experience. My play style and your play style are going to be very similar. You're locked to 3 different modes of play. You can be aggressive, defensive, whatever, but you're branching later in the game, yes, but early on, it's fixed. I'm not going up against a different race. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's only one set of units.
No. So that's where you're wrong. With the different play styles, you get different units. So you get like for example, you said the basic ones are like cavalry, warrior, and archer, right? Well, if you change the play style, it takes one of them away, and then you get like a scout. And the scout is faster.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's forking. Yeah, you're not a different race from the beginning. It's not like StarCraft where you're Zerg, Terran, and Protoss. No. It's not like that. It's not like they had serious game balancing here. It's symmetrical RTS gameplay, which for me, I'm not a big fan of. Like, it takes the fun out of it for me because then it's just a race. You're just racing to a point, and it's a different style of RTS, and you have to like it. It's like Age of Empires.
Yeah, actually. It is. Yeah,
I do agree that it has different play styles. The thing that I find a bit weird maybe is that I can see everything that the other guy is doing.
Yeah, there's no fog of war. There's no fog of war at all. I'm surprised they didn't have that.
Yeah, you'd rather it be a bit more sort of secretive, and then you kind of have to just
totally.
face it.
Yeah. I wonder if there's like a mode for that.
There is actually maps that do that, just so you know. And there's also maps with catapults in and stuff like that as well.
Because I'm not judging the single player game yet. Because anyone who's played again, I'll reference StarCraft because it's a king. The single player campaign and the multiplayer experience are like 2 totally different hemispheres. So I'm quite keen on checking out the full game now.
You should listen to me because I didn't even get past Littlefinger. So
I kind of like that where they have maps where you can see what someone is doing and where you can't see what someone is doing because it's testing different
capabilities,
skills in a way.
Yeah, but just be aware that I think those maps are only locked to the full version. Yeah, you only have access to one map in the arena.
But that's fair, right? It's a taster.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a taster.
Smart.
Yeah. And just to talk
it's a good model. It's a good taster as well. I mean, the one thing I wanted to say, Mike, and I wanted to know your feedback because you've got more hours in it than I do. Did you find the inability to, I'll call it pinch zoom, in and out in terms of scaling in and out of the game to be frustrating?
You can do that.
You can.
So yeah, you can. And this is the thing. Like, I think you should go back and play through the tutorials because, like,
I will.
It will get like if you hold the grip buttons, you can actually lift the board up and down, so you can get like right up close to your units if you want.
Units are pretty. Units are pretty.
They are.
I think
that's a good thing.
I think I once played a Total War game where you could be the character too, and then fight. As
You
well.
like swing your sword or like do the bow. That actually
so
kind of cool.
It was like an Age of Empires experience.
Yeah.
And I could stand on the wall together with the rest, and then use my bow and arrow. That would be next level.
I didn't like, or maybe that's because I haven't played it that much. I'm not that good with the controls yet. Is that I have a hard time selecting like one unit, since you need to press the trigger half. But if you're trying to do things fast, I always press it full, and then I'm sending units from over there all the way over there. I find it a little bit hard to, because I want to do like strategic, like attack the archers with my cavalry, but because I need to react so quickly, I often like select like units that I should not be selecting.
So my advice to you, Rowdy, would be get good. But like, to be honest, like there's this tournament next week, right? So there's a tournament where we're all gonna actually be competing. So me, Zim, and Rowdy are gonna be a part of this tournament. It's a tournament for VR content creators. We're gonna be going
beat their ass. Beat their ass. The stupid content creators beat their ass.
So we're all going like head to head, and hopefully we're gonna be like sharing some of the matches, maybe live streaming or recording them. Not quite sure. I'm actually up against VR Gamer Dude, who is another VR content creator.
Beat him.
I'm live with it, definitely. It's
so,
just a solo
just so
live
you're
thing.
aware, you know, if you're interested in watching some of this, it starts on Wednesday, the 21st of February. You've got Rowdy, Zim, me, VR Gamer Dude, Cass and Cherry, Reality Check VR,
Easy.
Frisk, and PSVR Frank, all taking part in this tournament.
Frank.
Yeah.
Just play it dirty, man.
Yeah.
But seriously, you guys have big
Have you already tried that, Mike? Have you already tried like blocking the view from someone?
Whoa.
Like trying to block him?
Whoa. Hang on. So, remember, there is a prize.
There is.
It's good.
But not for us.
No, not for us. That's even better.
Yeah, it's for our audience.
We don't need this prize. What's the prize, Mike?
So the prize is an Oculus Rift with touch controller bundle.
It's only $300. How many dollars now? we just said get a PlayStation VR.
We gotta stay on point here.
Yeah. But
no, whoa. This is zero.
So
this is $0.
Wait. Let's do a challenge here. If one of you guys win, okay, you will give away that Oculus bundle, but you will also give away a PlayStation VR.
Did you say a signed version of Nathie's underpants?
Because I'm definitely not gonna win.
Is that what that was?
Lose, okay? No, but seriously, that would be nice. Do you guys accept this challenge? I mean, that would be a nice little.
I don't even have a PSVR for myself, so
I
I'm not
already
gonna
gave
give
one away on my channel.
Yeah. But no, like whoever are the two finalists who go head to head, both of those will get a Rift Touch bundle to give away to their audiences. So we're not quite sure how the giveaway is going to take place, but we'll see what happens in the tournament, and then I'm sure it'll be announced later on. So if you're interested in checking it out.
They're asking in the chat, Jamie Cruz, where is this tournament airing? So
everywhere.
So,
in the north.
It's up to us whether we share it or not in terms of live stream it. I'm going to try and live stream it. I tried to live stream for the first time last week. Kind of failed. Like the audio from the gameplay wasn't coming out on the stream. But I'm trying to work that out. So hopefully I'll be live streaming all my matches. I think Zim was probably going to live stream yours, right, on Twitch?
Do I do anything else?
Exactly.
So you're going to get like half of the tournament, but if someone doesn't decide to stream, then you have still no clue how.
I thought that we had to like send our feeds to Oculus or something, and they would.
No.
I mean, I haven't read the emails, so
if we do a live stream, Oculus will share it, but they won't be hosting a live stream for us. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So
Oculus, if you need a host that is going to like summarize these battles, then you can call me. Okay, I will just.
Yeah,
do
you can be the.
And I'm like, oh, look at Rowdy, he's going for it. He has no
You don't want that.
You're not gonna be saying that a lot though.
So need a commentator for this. To be honest, for matches like this, the commentator amps up the energy like double. And any competitive esports tournament has a commentator. Where?
I mean, they do it with like Echo Arena. Then try it with this one. Just do a small event, and if it's like me sitting at home commentating, is but no, I wish you guys a lot of luck. I hope it's gonna work. As I said before, Frank, Kes and Cherry, you can do it with your eyes closed. And VR gamer dude, well, he's not stupid.
I'm gonna try and do it with their eyes closed. Like I'm gonna be holding this hand in front of them the entire time when they're trying to do something.
Personally, I think our biggest competition is Caleb. I think he's going to be the one to look out for because he's legit like hardcore multiplayer guy.
He's gonna win.
He's like the Rocky of VR games, you know.
He is.
Those stairs like 6 times and then.
He probably already has 45 hours in this game or something.
Sure.
He's just been sleeping in it, subliminally going in. Yeah. So So if you want to check out the tournament,
by the way, of Oculus more like getting the content creators in there, and good job.
But like you say, it should have been like hosted by them and having a commentator. That would have made it 10 times better.
Also, 10 times more complicated, though, Mike. I mean, the issue with that is that at the point of ingest, if you get it wrong, it mucks up. And also, with only 2 weeks' notice, scheduling can be a real problem. So
it is what it is. So moving on from brass tactics to AR glasses from Vaunt. So these are actually they're from Intel, sorry, but they're called Vaunt. So we've had AR glasses around for a while now, like Google Glass, for example. You can still pick them up today, I think, like the developer Google Glass versions. I think you can. Like if you search on eBay and stuff like that, you'll be able to pick up some Google Glass, a bit retro. But the problem is with Google Glass is that they look freaking weird, right? You're going to stand out, look a bit strange walking around the streets and going into restaurants and bars. And in fact, a lot of people that bought Google Glass and went into bars and restaurants, they actually got told to take them off because people in bars and restaurants didn't like the fact that people were going to potentially be recording, them eating their dinner or having a drink at a bar. So that was kind of weird, but these glasses from Intel called the Vaunt are,
I love this.
Are different.
I have to say, I love this segue, Mike. You're basically saying that they should subvert the system and record people without their knowledge. But I know you're not. It just sounded like that.
It's a stupid concept because, you can record anyone with a mobile phone. I mean, I can be sitting in the restaurant pretending I'm like...
The point I was trying to make before... squealed and it was is that these won't have a camera in them. They're not actually going to have a camera embedded in them. It's just purely for notifications and information for the user. So it's not going to be sort of capturing people doing the day-to-day business. There's no record function.
So I can't record people in the restaurant anymore?
Rowdy's voyeurism is he's very disappointed already.
It, Rowdy.
Stop being a perv.
Where could I get those Google glasses, you said?
Funny fact, though, I just found one on Amazon, and this guy once had like $800 for a Google Glass Explorer Edition version 2.
Well, that's actually cheaper because I think
that's way cheaper. It was $3,000.
I think they were over 1,000 before.
You can get a Pimax for that money.
Wow.
You can also get a lot of apple pie for that money, which is better use of it.
Oh my god. Okay. So we're actually playing a video right now, and it's made by The Verge. They were the ones that kind of got the inside scoop on the Vaunt glasses. And so Intel revealed the AR glasses to The Verge, and they obviously did this video, which you're showing you. But these glasses, what they do is they overlay digital information with the real-world environment that you can see with your own eyes, obviously. So these new glasses, they look really discreet, and that's pretty much the reason why I think they're more interesting than the Google Glass ever was, because when you wear these, you're not going to stand out in a crowd as to be wearing something different. They just look like a normal pair of black glasses, right? Prescription glasses. So you would have to have your prescription lenses like you would do with a normal pair of glasses. But what these glasses have in them is a little tiny laser which reflects and then goes straight into your eyeball. So it doesn't get like projected onto the glass or anything like that. It goes straight into your retina. So the information is going straight to your retina, and that means that regardless of what your eyesight's like, the information that gets projected into your eye is going to be crystal clear. So how this works is all the internals are in the stems of the glasses themselves, and then you connect your mobile device, whether it be Android or Apple, via Bluetooth to the glasses, and then you can enable whichever notifications you want to be displayed. So whether it be text messages, emails, directions, whatever it may be. And then, like I say, the information is beamed into your retina, but it's not there all the time. What you have to do is you have to look down at a 15-degree angle, and then you see it clear as day. And then when you look up your normal vision, then it's going to disappear and fade out of your view. So it's kind of unobstructive, which I like about this kind of wearable tech, because a lot of wearable tech is kind of obstructive, and it'll sort of like vibrate or make a noise to alert you of notifications, whereas this is more discreet in my mind.
Wow.
So
what
should I say
happens
this
when
one?
you're driving? A little popping. Oh, God! Sorry.
This is what I just said. You have to look down at a 15-degree angle to see the notification.
You're looking
You don't
down at
see
a
it.
hot chick going around the corner at a 50-degree angle, and then you get in a horrible accident. And you have to explain it to the wife.
Quick question though, since they're using direct projection, what happens if you move your glasses a bit up and down?
Yeah, so it has to be precise. It has to be
Because
precise.
what people with IPD differences? How is that going to work?
You have to specify your IPD when you buy these. So they measure your IPD at your optometrist, and then you buy them through. So I would imagine you have to buy these.
It needs to be a very small pinpoint then,
exactly.
where since if the glasses are a little bit too high or a little bit too low, then you won't get a clear vision.
But I think once they customized it to you, it worked. They showed him, with the kind of, it looked like it was a rangefinder attached to the guy's face when he was measuring. But what's your reaction to this, Mike? Is this something that you would use? What's your vision? Do you have glasses?
Yeah, so
you have glasses, don't you?
I wear glasses for driving, and I wear glasses for like going to the movies or whatever. But I don't normally wear glasses. I also wear glasses in the Rift, so I've got a custom set of prescription lenses in the Rift.
Okay.
So yeah, I would wear these because I wear glasses like take them on and off. And certainly for when I'm driving, like say if it gives me directions or something like that could be really useful. But also they reckon they're going to integrate it with Amazon Echo. So you could ask Alexa, like while you're cooking, for example, like what's the recipe for like a banoffee pie? And then she'll send it to your glasses and then you can see it as you're making your banoffee pie. You don't have to...
Or you're dating a girl that's called Alex, and every time you call her name, the thing is gonna pop up every time in your face.
It will tell you, Rowdy, that you're in a forest and that it's too noisy.
Yeah, probably.
Pro tip, actually, if you do have an Amazon Echo and you do have a girlfriend that's called Alexa, you can actually change its name.
Yeah, that's
true.
I know. That's true.
Yeah. But you're into lasers going into your eyeballs, aren't you, Rowdy? So you kind of know firsthand what this might be like.
Yeah. Because the first thing I heard, it's a laser that's going directly in your eyes. I was like, I don't know if this is going to be so safe then,
Yeah. So tell us about your eye surgery, because I'm intrigued to know how that works and how this kind of maybe...
Yeah.
Similar.
Well, I mean, the crazy thing is that the trip to the eye clinic took longer than the operation itself.
Wow.
I went in there at 10:15 and I left there at 10:30.
Wow.
That's how quick it went.
Wow.
The actual lasering of my eyes took 30 seconds per eye. And then, of course, because what happens is, I'll walk you through the procedure.
Yeah, sure, go for it. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so I went into the doctor's office and he explains the procedures to me, and he said to me, this was the only thing that was scary. During the part that they're lasering, you're not allowed to look anywhere else. You need to look straight ahead. You just need to look for those 30 seconds. You need to look straight ahead. And he says, but there's no problem because you see a little green light that is like blinking. And I was like, okay, green light blinking, good. I can focus on that. But after 15 seconds, that will disappear, and you just need to, just keep on looking where you were looking, wherever you were looking.
Wow.
Which is a little bit harder than you think.
Yeah.
But then you go into the operation room and they put like those eye drops in your eye to anesthetize your eye a little bit. It's just like a little bit sedated. That is the only thing that I felt during the entire operation is those eye drops going in, and it gives like a little bit of burning sensation on the edges, which goes away after a couple of seconds. And then you don't feel anything anymore. They put you on a table. They put some plastic over your eye. They cut open the plastic so that you can see still. Then they put a clamp on your eye so you can't blink anymore. So your eyes are open the entire time. But you don't feel anything of that. I mean, your eyes are completely anesthetized. They put some more eye drops on it. They even go with a little Bristol with some oil over there to keep it moisturized. Then they position it. Then they position you under the laser. You indeed see that green flickering right, and the 30 seconds start. But I thought after 15 seconds, the light is gonna go off or something. But that's not what's happening. You're actually just completely blind at that moment because they're burning your eye. The laser is burning your eye. It goes like a white mist that is
opaque.
popping up.
Opaque, right?
Yeah, it's like a white mist that is appearing, and all of a sudden, everything is white. I have to say, you have different techniques for laser surgery. The one I did was the most expensive one, but also the best one. It's called Relax Smile, where they make a little flap and they open it and then they laser you under there. But that's not what I did. They lasered directly in there. and then your eye goes white. Yeah? So I didn't have anything done to my eyes yet, except for the laser.
Wow.
And then they pull you back, and the lasering is done, and they make a very small incision in your eye, and they pull out the laser part.
Wow.
And that's what they call relax and smile.
Relax and smile.
Relax,
Oh my days.
refractive eye laser something.
Wow.
And in total, the entire operation lasted per eye 4 minutes.
This tells me
4 minutes
one.
per eye.
This tells me one thing. Be an eye doctor. You'll get minted. Quick surgery, right?
Yeah, 4 minutes per eye, and then I walked out, and I mean my vision was still blurry, but I could already see better than without my glasses when I walked away from the operation table.
That's incredible.
And by the evening, I already had way better vision, and by the next morning, at I think 10:30 or 11:30. I even drove by car to the car clinic myself, and I had 80% vision left and 90% of my vision already on the right.
Wow, that's incredible.
I need to ask him a question. I need to ask him a question about this topic.
Yeah.
So Vaunt AR glasses, you've seen what they look like. You've just paid the money, gotten through it. You know, you're on the other side of this now. You no longer have to wear glasses. Would you spend $2,000 on getting a pair of these glasses with a null prescription in them for the notifications?
For the notifications?
I mean, like, what in terms of what the product delivers right now, what we know about, does it interest you?
No, I need more than I know. I want, like you said, I want like road directions. Like I want the recipes really in there than to be.
Yeah, I love Mike's idea.
But it needs to be really smart for me to actually be using it then.
But that's going to take a while. This is like early adopter stuff.
That's at this point no.
Just give me one notification and that's it. But
I got smartwatch as well.
So have I. Yeah. But this is the cool thing with this. Like, this is a developer kit right now. They're going to be pushing those out to developers to make applications for this.
I think it's cooler.
Yeah. And then I think with more applications and more developers on board, we might get the interesting stuff. But like right now, the display that you actually get in your eye is monochrome. So it's actually just red. So it's a bit like the Virtual Boy.
It is Virtual Boy.
It's not like a colored display in your eye. It's just a red monochrome notification. So they call this, Intel call this VCSEL, and that stands for Vertical Cavity Surface Emitting Laser, and that's what they use to beam the information to your eyeball.
Mike, on that point, because chat has jumped on me already for it, they're like, "Oh God, Zim's going to take out his tin hat and jump all over this thing."
It was so funny.
It
was so funny.
I actually think that
I said actually that based on like the previous conversations we've had, based on like wireless technology, like with the the wireless headsets, and you were going crazy about that. That was exactly my point. I was going to come to you and say, "What are your thoughts on this?" Because I'd love to know.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with it because coherent light manufactured in the right way falling on your eye is really no different than sunlight. You know, it's like it's coherent. You do have to be careful. Obviously, if you get too coherent, then you have Rowdy's surgery, and you don't really want that on a day-to-day basis. But the whole notifications in this format, in this structure, is awesome. But I don't want to wear glasses.
Yeah,
I mean, them, right? As someone with 20/20 vision, I don't want to have the pressure on my nose. I don't want to have the pressure on my ears. As cool as it is, where I would probably use it is if there was something like this built in as a software layer into the headset I was using that was discrete and separated. And when I say separated, I mean it would not be performance impacted by a title or a game or whatever I'm running. It would run as a separate thing, like a separate discrete layer that could let me know if someone had opened my front door, that could, be in this all-in-one headset. And actually, that takes us back to Ready Player One again, because it's kind of like the Oasis. You want a headset that does it all.
That's true, but I mean, I would like to have glasses. I don't really need glasses, but I see them as a fashion item as a tech thing, But before we can even get that whole AR thing going on, where we have it in our like eyeballs, we need to wait so long that we're already like dead or something. I don't know, but you know what I mean. So I get your point, but I would like to have glasses on. If they're like sunglasses too, or just casual, I would be fine with that. But as long as I can't buy like mic pillows with these glasses, I'm not interested. Sorry.
No. It really depends for me on the integration with are my current devices and the
Yep.
added possibility it will give me. That is what will make or break it for me. Because I mean, I've worn glasses for a long time. I don't really mind that much wearing glasses because I did the laser eye surgery. I mostly did because wearing glasses in my headsets is just plain annoying. That's actually one of the main reasons why I did it. But yeah, it really depends on the features.
We just need Apple glasses or like Samsung glasses.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, you know, I'm sure Google and Apple will be following up with something similar themselves. You know, because I think end of this year, early next year AR will be much bigger. We've got Magic Leap, which we talked about before, which uses similar technology that it beams the information to your retinas, so it's not projected again. So this kind of technology is coming. You know, whether we like it or not, really.
There was some rumor mill stuff about the Magic Leap actually recently, which said that it was going to be priced as the same as like a desktop PC.
A high-end smartphone, I heard. So like around 800 to.
It's about the same actually
$1,000
these days. Yeah. You know, in the UK it'll be $1,000 for us. So
yeah, but is that like it's almost like you're buying you know, a car, an electric car, and it's like it drives that fast. But if you want to, you can drive even longer for an extra price. So would be like see maybe upgradable versions too, or maybe you know like that's what you don't know. Maybe it's like the basic price. But if you
Plus as well. Yeah, for anything like early adopter, you're always going to pay the highest price for it, right? Because we're living on the edge, you know. We're early adopters.
So the Magic Leap is going to be a development thing first, right? Development kit, or is it like a consumer?
No, so Magic Leap as well will be going out to developers first. Same with this Vaunt, because they want. It's all well and good having like we've said this before, like an AK headset or you know a Pimax or a Vaunt. You know, without the applications that take advantage of the system, it's kind of pointless on its own.
Yeah.
Hang on a second here. So we have, at this point in time, we have headsets, of course. We have, of course, ear, right? 360-degree spatial. We have smell with the Nauseous Rift, right?
Yeah.
No taste. No taste yet, right? There's no taste sims yet. Are there any booties? Because I've seen but no. Are there any booties?
No. I mean, taste. I mean, nose and taste are actually. I mean, there's a little bit of neuroscience background. 80% of what you taste is actually nose.
Yeah, I've heard that.
If you close your nose, your taste buds go like pretty much blank. So I think you can simulate taste a large part with just using nose stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's Tokyo simulators who do this in like cinema and all that, and they have like little fractional piece and they pump that into the air, and then through that you get the kind of flavor of the film.
Like Sim is looking for something that like every hole he has, he's gonna put something in there. And
wow.
And then in the beginning he was talking. In the beginning, he was talking about those photogrammetric experiences with like the adult industry. Yeah. I know where you're going.
No, but like,
it's just for science.
Sounds like it was technology everywhere.
Yeah. Right. Well, on that
That
note,
escalated quickly.
let's ask the chat if they've got any questions before we wrap this week's show up. I'd love to know, and obviously I'll set the reminders.
Do you mind if I cover some Assetto Corsa news there, Mike?
Oh yeah, sure. Go for it.
Wrap. So. Just a quick thing. So I'll run a little video at the same time, which is just the Assetto Corsa. So Assetto Corsa is a racing game. A lot of people would have heard of it. It's been around several years now. There's something happening on the 21st, coincides with the tournament, that the simulation studio behind Assetto Corsa, I've forgotten their name, apologies. They have said that there's going to be a large announcement, and they've got this clock ticking down on their website. Most people assume it's going to be Assetto Corsa 2. Really big thing for sim racers. We had Oculus kind of promote this as well yesterday with a really fast Nordschleife track video. But there are two things coming out. So I think for anyone who's interested in this or hasn't gotten into it, first off, Assetto Corsa does support VR natively. The menu system is all flat. Then you get in the game, it's full on. And it's been that way since 2014. And the two things that are out is there's this Extreme Edition that's coming out, the Ultimate Edition for Assetto Corsa, comes with all the DLC, which all together, I don't know actually what the final price is going to be, but the Ultimate Edition is bundling all the existing DLC, which is a huge amount of content, and that's coming out in, I think, May or March. And then there's a new release coming, which we don't know what is landing, but I'm guessing it's Assetto Corsa 2. And that's going to be announced on the 21st, so watch out for that.
Do you think that it's the best racing game that you can play in virtual reality across all headsets at the moment?
So if we just quickly wind down the competition, right? Dirt Rally for single-player rally racing is probably the best in class. For multiplayer, I would say Assetto Corsa is the best across the board. Project Cars 1 was okay, but I think fell a peg behind. And Project Cars 2 is kind of neck and neck. There are people who prefer Project Cars 2 over Assetto Corsa. Those are competitors. Then there's iRacing. Proper sim racers do like scheduled races on a monthly subscription. I personally don't have experience with iRacing. It's one of the things I have yet to play, but I've sworn to my audience I will. If you're a really proper sim racer, you paid $600 for a wheel and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, that's the go-to thing.
Right. Okay. Nice.
Cool. There you go. Any questions in chat?
Yeah, someone is asking about the Vive board I showed on Twitter. So I found an old picture on my phone where you see someone standing on a hoverboard, a surfboard. I don't think that's real. I don't think that's ever. It looks pretty like legit in a way, but I don't know if that's like a thing where you can have like like a hoverboard would be cool. Though.
Would be cool.
Was it like an April Fool's joke? Do you think?
Yeah, it could be. It felt like one. So like guys, if I post some weird pictures, it's not always real. Okay, it's just me messing around with your minds.
Yeah.
Are any of you planning? Tiago was asking, are any of you planning to go to GDC next month?
It's a good question.
Nope.
So like very silent suddenly.
We don't know. I doubt it, to be honest. But we don't know for definite. You know, we're always working on stuff in the background to try and get to as many events as we possibly can. But it's whether or not we can get sponsorship to go, really, or anything like that. Like, you know, these things cost a lot of money. We'd of course love to be there as a group. We'd love to be there. Maybe something we could do in the future. I would like to do, but right now we don't know. We don't know.
Like Oculus Connect for me is gonna happen for sure.
Yeah.
If we're talking about VR conventions. I'm not sure about you guys, but that's something that is on my bucket list for this year.
It's one I'm definitely going to this year, 100%.
Yeah. Indisputable event.
Yeah. So
cool.
Let's round this up then. So just to remind you, it is a weekly VR, AR, and MR talk show, live streamed every Saturday on Nathie's YouTube channel. Tune into the show live at 4 p.m. in Europe, 3 p.m. in the UK, and 9 a.m. in Central US. If you missed the podcast, I upload the whole show to my own YouTube channel, Virtual Reality Oasis. You can check that out on a Sunday, or check out the audio-only version, which is available on Google Play Music, iTunes, and on SoundCloud. Thanks for being a part of the show. Again, we love having you guys, having you around, and love hearing your feedback as well. So if you've got any questions, chuck them in the comments, maybe of the video that I upload. Maybe I'll read them out on next week's show, or get in touch with us via Twitter. That's probably the best way to communicate with us if you want to talk to us directly. So thanks again for being a part of the show, and we shall see you on next week's episode. Take it easy, guys, and bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.